I made 2 super conferences and simmed 10 years to see who would be the next big dog in college football. The first conference I made is going to be the SEC, the new SEC, and all I did was take the top 12 teams from the latest college football playoff rankings that dropped on November 4th, and we put them all in the SEC. So you have teams like BYU in here that might not make sense, but they're in the top 12. Then I made a secondary top conference here that has just all of the remaining big dogs that might not be having the year that they expected. Put them all in one conference here. And then the Big 12 is going to be the third conference we will just keep track of. And it's pretty much the rest of the good programs or the Power 4 programs that's left in college football. Y'all boys, let me know down below who y'all think is going to win the most national championships, bringing the best recruiting classes. I'm going with my LSU Tigers to win 3 natties, and let's hop in to see what happens. CPU firing will be on, so the CPU can fire their head coaches, move on from the next coach, and go on about their business. In this dynasty, we're going to take over Temple, but we're not playing any games with Temple. We're just here to watch, and I don't want to take over one of the top programs because that will affect the recruiting class. I did a video on auto recruiting, and even if I put that feature on and I'm controlling the program with auto recruiting on, they still will bring in a horrible recruiting class. So it's better if I just sim from Temple and just watch over the programs. 10 weeks into the first season in Georgia, Miami, the big dogs are being big dogs. BYU is going crazy. They're ranked number 4 with 2 losses. I don't know. But you have LSU. Pitt is not in one of the major conferences. We put them in the ACC, and in this dynasty, it's not great teams in that conference. I did make sure each conference get at least 8 conference games. So Georgia here honestly have an easier schedule. You know, they don't have to play some of the big dog SEC teams. Then they could get a Texas Tech, which is honestly an easier game for them. But you do also have to deal with Notre Dame, Ohio State. Oregon is also within your conference, so they still get a tough schedule this year. But other years when you get BYU, it could be easy money. Year 1 of the regular season has ended. Georgia goes 10-2, and they will be playing Texas Tech in the conference championship for the SEC. Notre Dame could not hang. This is with the updated rosters here in 2025, and you have teams doing very bad. Ohio State currently undefeated, not in game, 6-6. They damn near going to have to fire Ryan Day in this dynasty. Also, A&M nowhere near as good as they are in real life. Let's also check on the Big 10, the other conference we're tracking, and it's going to be Carson Beck in Miami versus Tennessee in the Big 10 championship. Penn State having a pretty good year, LSU mid, and then you also have Colorado making it in the Big 12. The Big 12 honestly got a little bit tougher. We added better teams to the Big 12, and Colorado is balling. Byron Brown wins the Heisman Trophy, man. That playbook for UFC might be like that. I might have to try out because I constantly see quarterbacks, receivers winning the Heisman for that program, and it has to do with the playbook. Also, we have advanced past conference championship week, so let's see what happened. UCLA beat Pitt. UCLA going 11-2 is crazy. When they fired their coach and went defeated halfway through the season. You have also Tulane. You have Colorado picking up a 50 ball in Mizzou. You have Tennessee beating Miami. And then also you have Texas beating Georgia in the conference championship. It was supposed to be Texas Tech in the conference championship, but somehow Texas beat them. I don't know what's going on there, but somehow Texas Tech did not make it, but it seems like they will be in the playoffs. Pitt with a bye, Oregon with a bye, Michigan and Vanderbilt with a bye, going 11-1. Shout out to Vandy, the number 2 team in the nation right now. And Georgia, they're not going to make the playoffs, which is nuts. And where's Texas? Texas literally just beat Georgia in the SEC championship, and they're not going to get in the playoffs? Nasty work. They're ranked all the way down here at number 23, and they will not get into the playoffs after beating Georgia. Nasty work, SEC, and the College Football Playoff Committee. Nasty work. Let's sim to the College Football National Championship. I'm pitting my money on Oregon, and I may have been right. It's going to be Vandy versus Oregon in the National Championship. They beat Boise State and then beat a Michigan team. This is an interesting playoff situation. You got Colorado winning 2 playoff games. That's crazy. Let's go ahead and advance to see who year 1 national championship will be. And if it's Vandy, I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if Vandy won this first national championship. And no, it's going to be Oregon. Oregon takes the first national championship in this video. National Signing Day, Georgia, Miami, Penn State, Michigan, and Alabama with the top 5 classes in the nation. Also LSU up here. That's going to be my bet to win the most national championships. And Colorado bringing the number 13 class is pretty darn good. Let's advance to the following season. One thing we didn't keep track of, and I will in the future, is what coaches get fired and what coaches move around, especially in the 2 conferences. It looks like James Franklin is the new head coach at Notre Dame. So that's different. Okay. Dabo Swinney is now the head coach at Alabama. Things have certainly changed. Some things have certainly changed. There's been some shaking up here in the coaching carousel. Brian Kelly is still the head coach. Okay, Lane Kiffin has went on to Penn State. Billy Napier is still at Florida. Okay, no, Shane Beaver is now at Florida State. It has been changes in the coaching carousel, 100%. Kalen DeBoer at Nebraska. Matt Rule at Washington. Mark Ryan and Jet Fisher. I think that's pretty much all of the changes. Let's go ahead and advance to the next season. The preseason top 25 got Oregon, Michigan, Miami, Georgia, and Penn State all up here. LSU is going to be all the way down here at 22. Let's advance to the first college football playoff rankings to see how we're looking. College football playoff top. Let's do 12. Penn State, Oregon, Duke, man. Duke with that crazy playbook always come up to the top. I honestly should have put Duke in the Big Ten with the other good teams, but they're in the ACC, which is an easier conference in this dynasty. So they might dominate. They might dominate with that crazy playbook they got. But LSU, finally, we just beat Miami, which is a pretty big dub. So we have a chance this year. UCLA also going crazy in the ACC is interesting. Also, I'm sure y'all can hear it. My voice is absolutely cooked. So drop a like on the video and also subscribe for me working through the pain. This might be the first time I've seen this, and I've done a lot of dynasties. Draylon Miller, 4-star receiver from Colorado, wins the Heisman as the 87 overall. Shout out to Dion and them boys, man. Shout out to them boys. That is actually crazy to see that. National Signing Day, early National Signing Day is here, but more importantly, staff moves. Who is moving around in our conferences? Who is firing their coaches in the SEC? Oklahoma fired their head coach. Kurt retired, really. Okay. And then also BYU fired their head coach, as they're probably not going to do that good in this dynasty, as they're in a tough conference, a conference they really probably shouldn't be in, but they was ranked in the top 12. And then a bunch of changes here in the Big 12. There's going to be a lot of changes every single year in college football. Mike Norvell got fired back-to-back years. Back-to-back years, Mike Norvell got fired. I just seen the most diabolical bowl game matchup. I'm going to have to show y'all after I show y'all this. But Colorado makes another conference championship lose to Arizona State. You also have Texas versus Oregon. Oregon wins the SEC Conference Championship. And you have number 1 Penn State going 13-0 and finishing the season, at least regular season, undefeated. And Duke loses the conference championship to UCLA. Now, this might be the most diabolical playoff game we would ever see. Ball State versus Georgia. At Georgia also. Georgia would be home for this matchup in Athens. Oh, that would be nasty. Let me show y'all boys the playoff bracket. And yeah, a little bit better this year. A little bit maybe more realistic. Duke will make it every single year. Oregon back in there undefeated. I'm going to go with LSU, man, to run the gauntlet and get their first of 3 national championships that I'm predicting them to get. And Oregon completes the undefeated season, back-to-back years, and they two-peat. They two-peat and win 2 straight national championships. Dan Lannon is going crazy. They beat up on Alabama, who also has a new coach. I forget who it is, but it's not Caleb DeBoer. And LSU lost to Oregon in that quarterfinal round. But this is your playoff bracket for year 2. Let's hop in year 3. National Signing Day. Alabama brings in the number 1 recruiting class this cycle. And Oregon brings in number 10. I need Oregon to calm it down. Pipe down, Oregon. They bring in number 10 class. LSU here at number 8. Let's hop into the next season. Colorado might sneak and get a national championship, man. They bring in some pretty solid classes considering their program. Jackson Arnold goes to North Texas and gets him a Heisman Trophy. Okay, Jackson, I see you. I see you, Jackson. Temple pulling Texas A&M in a bowl game. Temple ranked. I don't know what's going on. We're just simming the dynasty, but Temple is a ranked program. What is going on with my Owls? Are we just having a good year, or are we actually good? Oh my goodness, very horrible. 66 overall. We got a quarterback though. We're going to get blown out in this bowl game. Kentucky wins a conference championship. Okay, I see you, Kentucky. Oregon makes it once again. Someone has to stop Oregon. Unfortunately, Oregon lost to Texas, so it's going to be another year where it seems like the SEC conference championship will not make the playoffs. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing? Texas, they're unranked. We'll see if they get in, but they probably will not. UCLA is ranked number 2. They beat NC State. You also have Michigan versus Clemson, and Michigan wins, and they're the number 1 team in the nation. Bryce Underwood is probably in his senior year, but the league is looking very, very different here at this point, man. We can look at the playoff bracket and see all of the matchups. And yep, the SEC championship champion, Texas, is 9 in the playoffs, but LSU is in there. And we have a first round bye. We will take that. Tulane is also in there. Okay, some stuff going on here. Clemson beats Florida in the national championship, and this one was in New Orleans, the Superdome, man. Unfortunately, LSU could not make it. We lost our first round matchup against the rivals. Nasty work. Nasty work. All right, so this time FIU quarterback wins the Heisman. What is going on in college football? Not one major program got a Heisman Trophy winner, and Temple's in the playoffs. This is not a Temple video, but we in the playoffs, man. I don't know why. We're in the playoffs. We will take it. We will take it, man. I don't know what KC got going on with my Owls, but we balling out. Our quarterback returned for his redshirt junior year. He's up to an 84 overall with the boost. And I didn't think Temple was going to be on this list, but they should be. Temple should be in the SEC. Let's check out staff moves this year, and don't seem like it's too much going on, at least not up until this point. Nope, I win it. They fired Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is out at Georgia. Wow. And James Franklin got fired again, the second time in this video. It's like the SEC is too good, man. They're too good, and like last year, they end up knocking themselves out the playoffs. But this year, we do have Alabama beating Ole Miss in the conference championship, and they will be in the playoffs, it looks like, with a first round bye. Kentucky wins another conference championship, and their conference going crazy. Then you also have Florida State making an appearance here, losing to Michigan in their conference championship, and Duke loses to Louisville, and Louisville is the number 1 team in the nation, 13-0. It's like the super conference is a gift and a curse. For the fan, a gift. But for the teams, almost like a curse, because you have to play great teams every single week, and your record will be worse. And the game doesn't account for that. You know, a 9-3 Georgia team is probably better than an 11-2 Temple team. Let's be honest. But the game doesn't account for that. Let's see if my Temple Owls won their first national championship. And no, Florida goes back. Really, they win this time, but LSU lost in the first round of Georgia once again. Oh man, who is LSU head coach at this point? Brian Kelly is still the guy, and he's getting them to the playoffs. Billy Napier is still the guy. Clark Lee really took over at Clemson. He won them that natty. But interesting stuff going here. We just can't really get over that hump. Kirby Smart is also at Notre Dame now, if you was curious who took over that job. And Jay Norvell is over here at Iowa. That is Colorado State head coach who got fired in real life. This year, Ohio State brings in the #1 class. You have UCLA, Nebraska going crazy, man. With the coaches moving it around, you have some coaches with crazy recruiting skills going to some of these smaller programs. Where is Temple University going to be at? Colorado kind of dropped off. They're at 31. Listen, I want us to keep sneaking into the playoffs. Number 75 class, that's not good. Southern Miss is my dynasty glitch. Southern Miss quarterback wins the Heisman. I don't have an issue with these small programs. No issue. I am just shocked. And we pulled Notre Dame in a bowl game, which is still a pretty big deal. We went 9-3 once again as Temple University. But what's up with these small programs just keep dominating? I don't know what's going on, or dominating the Heisman trophies. I don't know what's going on with that. Conference championships, what's going on here, man? Looks like Baylor is the #3 team in the nation. They are 13-0 somehow, some way. Texas with another national championship, conference championship, SEC conference championship appearance, and they win this time, beating up on Ohio State. And Clemson loses to Nebraska, and then UCLA is just going crazy, man, going crazy in this dynasty. Once again, LSU versus Florida, 3 years in a row in the playoffs. If LSU loses this game 3 years in a row, oh my goodness, Baton Rouge fans, LSU fans will be pissed. Oh my goodness, man. Let's advance and hope that does not happen. Let's see. Oh my goodness, Baton Rouge will be going crazy. LSU is home for this game also. This will be a home playoff game for LSU. Florida makes it all the way to the semis, and it's going to be Texas winning their first national championship of this run. But shout out to Nebraska for actually making all the way to the championship. Let's hop into next year. Yeah, my dynasty cooked, man. Miami of Ohio. Quarterback walks away with the Heisman. Applewhite. Hey, I don't know what's going on, y'all boys. I really don't know what's going on, but it's a sight to see. It is. It's a sight to see here. Let's see who is our conference champions here. West Virginia gets one. Then you have Florida coming out with a conference championship. Florida, #1 team in the nation. Billy Napier is doing wonders. He is doing his thing. And Notre Dame is making an appearance here. And they won the SEC. They should be in the playoffs, but they might not be. Where stuff goes on. Let's look at the college football bracket. And Notre Dame will be in as the 12th seed. And Duke with a first round bye. No LSU this year. Yikes. Let's look at the head coaches changes here in the conference, man. LSU has hired Shane Beaver as their new head coach. Brian Kelly is out. He retired. Brian Kelly, he just hung it up, man. Had a bad year, and he decided to retire from college football. And only one coach change here. Oklahoma wins the national championship. That's a school name I was not expecting to say in this video when it comes to winning a natty. But it happens. They beat Notre Dame, who had a spectacular season. And let's move on. Just to update y'all, we are simming through the 7th season of this experiment. 2 national championships. The first 2 have went to Oregon. Clemson has one. Florida has one. Texas has one. And then the latest one was Oklahoma. And let's go ahead and knock out the final 4. There we go. A big time school has a Heisman Trophy winner. It's going to be a running back from Oklahoma. Maybe they two-peat, man. They just coming off a national championship appearance. Temple is still, they're doing things. They're doing things, man. We're going 6-6 or 9-3. That's pretty much the 2 options we have as this Temple program for some reason. Let's go ahead and see who is going to be our conference champions this season. LSU beats Nebraska for their first conference championship after Brian Kelly has retired from the program. We also have Alabama losing to Oklahoma. Oklahoma is 13-0. They may go ahead and win another national championship here. Let's also look at your college football playoff bracket just to see the matchups. And we don't get, when I say we, LSU, we don't get a Florida matchup. So we might actually have a chance of winning the game. The last 3 times we made the playoffs, we lost to Florida. So we honestly could have an easier matchup. California and NC State. And then the bottom half of the bracket, we should go to the national championship. Like, we should. There's no reason we don't. We are better than every team on this side of the bracket. This is a good chance. And let's see, and it's not going to be. It is LSU. Let's go. We have 1. We need 2 more to achieve my goal of winning 3 with LSU. Let's check the stat sheet for the first time. Why not? Why not, man? Quarterback balled out. Defense didn't do nothing. We gave it like 50 points. But LSU gets their first one in year 7. And I don't know what's going on with Temple, but like every year we have a good quarterback. We have an 87 overall quarterback, which is pretty darn good. Like, he's a junior. He go ahead and get drafted. But I want to show you the top players in the league. 2 tight ends per blocking. I'm blocking tight ends just get so high in overall so easily. But this is kind of what the league is looking like. The best quarterback plays for OSU, which is interesting. Simming the National Signing Day. This is going to be the last National Signing Day that really matters, just because we only have 3 more seasons left. And these freshmen that's going to come in, most of them, will be sophomores, juniors by that point. So this is going to be the last one that really, really matters. And I was hoping LSU brings in the number 1 class at the win the Natty. And no, they do not. They're all the way down here at number 19. They do bring in, some good players, but number 19 is not great. Alabama brings in the number 1 class, and let's go ahead and get into the next season. UL Monroe. We're back to the small programs with the Heisman Trophy winners, man. Okay. I mean, they're having good seasons. Don't get me wrong. They're having amazing seasons. It's just like, did something happen after the update? Like, this did not happen pre-update. You'll have some small programs go win the Heisman, but not every single time. And some of these players at small programs, yes, they'll put up great stats against worse competition. I don't know if the game is factoring that in. But Colorado wins their conference championship. Looks like they will be in the playoffs. You also have UL Monroe, winning a conference championship. Wish I would have saw that quarterback in the playoffs, but he would not be in it. Alabama loses to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's honestly balling. And Penn State walks away with another conference championship. And honestly, UCLA might have the most conference championships in this video. They not doing much in the playoffs, but they are balling in the conference championship. Like, I guess they're just in the worst conference, and they probably hired the pretty good head coach. The boys balling. And this is going to be your playoff bracket, no LSU. So we're rooting for Colorado in this situation. Let's go get one. Oh, boo-hoo. Nebraska, they did the rebuild. They won the Natty. They ran the whole gauntlet, beating Alabama, beating Oklahoma, who was a very good team. Then Pitt, they blow them out. And then also beating Penn State. It's a pretty tough run for them to go win that Natty. But they got it. They did it. Next year, year 9. UCLA wins the national championship. They finally did it. They won the Natty. Cool. NC State also makes it, man. I think this test has been very, very interesting, man. Let's go ahead and get into the 10th season of this experiment and see if we have any more repeat champions, man. Like, Oregon seemed to have fallen off. Somehow they made the Natty the first 2 years, and they won the Natty the first 2 years, haven't done anything since. And that's our only repeat champion. Year 10 of our dynasty, and it may have glitched out. Let's see, man. Let's see. So it's showing the last year's college football playoff bracket. What are we doing? You see in the top of the screen is year 2034. But when I click our college football playoff bracket, it's showing the 2023 version. This is the version where UCLA just won it. I don't know, man. It just be random things wrong with the game sometimes. It just be random stuff. But you'll never guess who won the Natty. It was actually TCU. If we come over here, we can see the top, all the teams that won the last Natties. And it's TCU coming out with a national championship. This is interesting because the Super Conference didn't really work, in my opinion. Like a lot of teams that wasn't in the Super Conference end up like at least competing for national championships. And they ain't always win them, but they end up competing for them. Like TCU going 16-0 is crazy. Crazy. But that's what happened, man. We made a super conference, 2 super conferences, and you see the results. If y'all enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all, boys. Let me know what y'all want to see next, and we on to the next one.